Doesn't matter how you get to the pot of gold, B to the Ryan. It's just that you beat the leprechauns there.
You were saying, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You got A, B, and
yeah,
E?
like it's like it's below F, so it's more like G. Like some of them are so bad that I'm just like whatever. When other ones to me are just cinematic fucking beautiful fucking shits. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy, man. DC to me has always been my favorite out of the superhero, out of the big two superhero. I don't know if you call them companies. Your MC, your Marvel, and your DC. Like I grew up mostly on DC. Marvel was there. Trust me, I watch X-Men.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, you had Batman the animated series going on, and it's just like, look, I like X-Men. Don't get me wrong. This is a fucking Batman, dude. Like the animated series was just fucking amazing. Like there's just so many stuff. Like DC has always had superior animated stuff compared to Marvel, in my opinion. Anyway.
Oh yeah. And that's what's great to me is that there's a lot of overlap. There's a lot of characters that you can find distinct copies of in the other franchise, or the other company, but they're still different enough that it works out. Like, so I did already hit record on this. Like I said, this one's probably going to be a shorter one because we're going to have similar movies. We just are. We probably won't have them in the same order. I mean, I'm betting we won't.
Wasn't like Shazam originally Captain Marvel, and then like some bullshit happened and Marvel ended up copywriting the name and they had to change Captain Marvel to Shazam? Didn't that shit fucking happen?
No clue about that.
I want to say that happened. Now, is that fact? No, I don't know, but that's something I remember hearing in the vast fucking world of superheroes that I've had conversations with through people of all walks of life through my life, but I distinctly remember there being something with Captain Marvel and Shazam and some copyright names. I could be wrong. It might be somebody else, but
no, dude, it's possible. They're really fucking weird about copyright shit.
Yeah,
in Hollywood. Excuse me. But honestly, they probably at this point I wouldn't want to be associated with the name Captain Marvel, anyways, because it is
right?
it's consistently one of the worst in the MCU. So. Yeah. They probably dodged a freaking missile with that one. Just stick with Shazam.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we're just doing top 5 on this one. No honorable mentions or anything. I didn't come up with an honorable mention. I think I know what one would be. Did you do an honorable mention or did you just do top 5?
I just did top 5. In all honesty, I didn't really look at it as honorable mention. Like I had no issues. I took no notes because, this is something that I love very much and I can just rattle it off the top of my head at any time and I don't see them changing.
Yeah. I have no notes. I didn't look up any of the Rotten Tomato scores or anything. Couldn't tell you what years mine came out. I just know I really love the movies. I'm if I had to guess right now, I would say maybe 3 out of 5 will have in common.
Yeah, probably. Probably so. I would think so.
So
for sure.
All right, man. Well, with that, you want to go ahead and throw your number 5? And for me, these are in order.
Yes, mine too.
Okay, cool.
Mine are in order. Yes.
All right, cool. You want to throw out your number 5?
Sure, man. This movie, I had an absolute unexpected great time watching. I didn't expect anything out of this before I went to the theater. And when I went and it was over, I was like, you know what? That's all right. Like, I'll take it, man. Like, hell yeah, I can dig that. And number 5 for me is the original for the DCEU, Shazam. I will put that as my number 5. And this was a good time for me, man. Like the movie, I expected it to be bad, to be honest. I didn't like the way that the previews looked. I didn't like a lot of the things that were being said about the movie ahead of time. But when it was all said and done, man, and the movie was over, I had a smile on my face. And the only disappointment I really had was Superman's cameo at the end, that it didn't actually show Henry Cavill, dude. But
because it wasn't him, man.
It wasn't, but the look, dude, that made that kid's day. Like, he had been fucked with and fucked with and fucked with, dude. And it's the thing about that movie that made it so fun for me, dude, is you take a dumbass kid. We were all there. We were all that dumbass kid. And you gave him these abilities and made him an adult. So God only knows. Like, you put me at 13, 14 years old with those abilities, I don't think I'm doing any better. Hell, I might not even do as well as he did.
I was about to say, he did kind of defeat, the villain in the 7 Deadly Sins. So
I mean, it took him a minute to get there. His, being irresponsible, but his irresponsibility was very mild, I think, compared to what my irresponsibility would have been at that age.
And I think that's one of the things that makes this movie so good is despite it being an outlandish comic book like superhero movie, it's kind of relatable, because you got to understand, like, if I had powers at that age, I'm probably doing the same shit. I'm probably, dude, I'm invincible. Shoot me with a gun.
Like, yeah, that done. Like, that's
exactly
that's freaking happening. And I mean, it also was a tale of two friends, man. Like, he was always rejected, always felt rejected, and he found a place to get in, man. And it kind of had that family dynamic towards the end of it, and he felt accepted, and he felt like he had a family. And dude, I can dig it, man. Like that movie, like I said, I wasn't expecting anything going into it, and I came out pleasantly surprised, and that's why I'm putting Shazam at number 5.
Yeah, man. Shazam was going to be my honorable mention. Absolutely loved it. And just one more aspect of, like, you mentioned him getting rejected and all the stuff like that. Yeah. Bro, when he discovers and, like, figures out that he wasn't lost, that his mom left him at the, I think it was the fair, bro, that was like a dagger to the heart. You're just like, oh no. You just want to give him a hug.
Yeah, man.
Like, you just want to give him a hug. And then, yeah, Mark Strong as fucking Dr. Savannah, dude, is such a good villain. He's such a good villain. I gotta think that dude's, like, gotta be the nicest guy, because those are usually the people who play the best villains.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was just all around a good movie, I think. And the scores kind of reflect that. Audience score 82% and a critic score of 90%.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah, it's one of the highest rated DC movies. So there you go. Damn good pick. Like I said, if we'd have had 6, it would have been my number 6. But we're gonna start with my number 5. And my number 5, 2018, Jason Momoa, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, I think is his name. I hope I'm saying his name right. He played Black Manta.
Yeah.
Bro, Aquaman. Absolute. I was, you grew up DC. I didn't necessarily grow up DC, but when I think of Aquaman, we don't think Jason Momoa. We think, blonde hair, some red pants, like white guy.
Green pants, but yeah.
Yeah, green pants, sorry. Bro, I was like, when I saw this, I was like, okay, they're going to make it, they're going to, shy away from source material, but I'll give it a chance. I had such a good time with this movie.
Good. Yeah, it wasn't bad.
And one of the things about it is I actually had, like, stress when Black Manta was going after Aquaman. Because I don't know why, but just something about him, and I don't know, it could be the actor, could be his methods or whatever, but when he's going after him, I actually felt like Aquaman was in danger. It just, man, I could talk more about it, but
yeah.
it's just I love it. I don't know why, but it's one of my favorites. It's at my number 5. It's not rated quite as high
Mhm.
as Shazam is. I'll tell you that. The critic score is a 66%,
Mhm.
so significantly lower. But the audience score is a 72%. But there you go, man. The only negative I'll say about this movie is Amber Heard. That's the only thing I didn't really care for in the movie is Amber Heard. And nothing. And this was pre all that drama.
Yeah, it was.
It's just
It
I
was.
don't know, something about her in the movie. It's like she feels fake, and I know this is acting. It's not real, but when I watch her, I'm like, she's not doing well. Like she feels fake in a real feeling world to me.
Yeah.
So that's my only negative with the movie. But yeah, my number 5
My
is
little
Aquaman.
fish stick. I love that line, dude. Dude, to be honest with you, man, and this may sound crazy, this may be a hot take. I actually had more fun with Aquaman 2 than I had with the first Aquaman. Surprisingly, you know,
I haven't seen Aquaman 2.
yeah, I did, man. The dynamic between uh
Ocean Master.
Jason Momoa and Conjuring guy.
Yeah, Ocean Master. I think technically no, it's not Ocean Master.
What's his
It's
name? What's his real
Patrick.
name? Patrick. I almost said
Patrick
Patrick.
Wilson.
I almost said Patrick Stewart. It's like, oh,
I was thinking that too.
Aquaman.
No, it's Patrick Wilson. King Orm.
Well done, number one. I got it.
King Orm is the character's name.
Yeah, but I actually had fun with that, man, and it kind of had that family, dude. It's like a something in common with movies that I love. Had that strong sense of family, and you know, you would
So
think I would be a bigger Fast and
I
Furious.
was about to
fan than I
say, so
am.
you're a big Fast and the
You would
Furious
think
fan?
that I would be bigger than I am, but yeah, man. Aquaman 1 wasn't bad. That was another one I saw in theaters, and I was pleasantly surprised when I came out of it as well. I'll tell you what, dude. Jason Momoa in Fast and Furious 10 was freaking amazing.
Bro,
He was, dude.
He was
freaking
so
amazing.
batshit crazy.
He was, dude. Fantastic villain. 100%. 100%.
All right, man. Detour over there. All right, you're number 4.
My number 4 was another theater go for me. And this has 2 cuts. You have the theatrical cut, and that's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ultimate cut, Batman versus Superman, Batman v Superman. That one to me is my number 4. I absolutely love this movie. I know it wasn't widely accepted as a great movie, but I honestly believe, dude, I think these movies came out too soon. I think that they came out during a time of the Marvel formula to where everyone was expecting the same exact movie with different freaking characters every time, and this wasn't that. The score in this movie is absolutely beautiful. Hans Zimmer is a beast, absolute beast, man. Some of the imagery in this, the first thing that comes to mind is Superman saving that girl from that fire. On the holiday down in Mexico, and he's standing there and everybody has their hand on him, dude. The imagery just absolutely beautiful. You bring Batman into the fold and you kind of give a little bit of backstory because this is Ben Affleck's introduction to the DCEU.
Bro, he was so fucking jacked
to do that. And you know, Zack Snyder has spoken out about this, saying, you know, like we had a cut and the studio just kept axing away at it and cutting down to where you got the theatrical cut, and it didn't really make sense. Like there were just you would jump from one thing to another, and you're like, how the fuck did we get here? Like this is beautiful, but how did we get here? And then when you get the ultimate cut, you see all the little scenes that make that difference, the little interactions, the dialogue, you know, the way, you know, the conversations between people, and it's just like, oh, now I get it. Now I see how you go from. Why the fuck would you cut that out? I honestly think that they're 2 different movies. Not that the premise of the movie is any different, but the understanding of the movie is so much better in the ultimate cut. Batman v Superman, to me, when you get the right cut of it, is just fantastic. I love this movie. It's something. Not only is it something beautiful to watch, it's something beautiful to hear through Hans Zimmer, man. It's fantastic. That's my number 4, Batman v Superman.
It's a damn good movie. It's definitely for me. For me, it's a little bit in the B tier. Now, I will follow that up by saying I've not seen the ultimate cut. I've only seen theatrical cut.
Oh, I'm
I
surprised that even made B tier for you, to be honest.
I didn't mind it. Here's the thing. You know what I actually really liked about Batman vs Superman that you probably won't hear many people at all say?
Hmm.
I like Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
I don't mind him, dude, because people forget that's not Lex Luthor. That's his son. My father's the Lex and LexCorp. Holy shit. Guess what? He's not going to be just like every other Lex Luthor you've ever seen, because every other Lex Luthor you've seen is not in this movie.
Yeah, and he has that kind of spoiled rich kid feel about him.
Completely.
And he's kind of like, I don't know, as weird as it is, he's kind of like a little rat. Like he's very shifty, very dodgy, and like you can tell he's scheming the entire time.
He is.
Absolutely scheming. But yeah, dude, I actually really enjoyed him as Lex Luthor in this
And
movie.
he's
But
crazy. His
100%.
speech at that little thing that he had at his house with all those people where he's talking, he's like, and that's paradoxical, you know, like he just goes off in his own little freaking thing to where everybody's like, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
But they still clap and cheer because they're afraid of him.
Yeah, I mean, open bar too. I mean, he's paying for everything, so you know, you say whatever you want, I'll clap for you. It's free.
But in terms of the first outing, this is another big positive for me. The first outing of Ben Affleck as Batman. I very much agree with what they said is that you don't, and I forget who it was. I want to say it was Zack Snyder who said, I didn't cast a Batman, I cast a Bruce Wayne. And like Ben Affleck is a fucking great Bruce Wayne. I think he's an amazing Bruce Wayne. I think he was an amazing Batman, and like the Batman he was supposed to be. Like, and it's very much a comic book accurate The Dark Knight Batman. Like he's older, he's kind of the years and years of doing this have chiseled away at his character and at his body, and I really love that. There are some things in the movie that I don't like obviously the incredible coincidence of both their mothers being named Martha, essentially saving the entire movie.
Truth, but that is their name in the comics.
Yeah, but like you could have probably found something a little bit more sturdy to prop your movie up on.
Maybe. I mean, a lot of people have trouble with that, dude. But what's more special to anyone or showing that you're human more than your mother?
I'm not disagreeing with that. It's just obviously movies have a lot of timing that is just placed there to keep the movie moving along, you know? And just the timing of him saying Martha before Batman fully takes him out is, it was just, for me, I'm like, okay, you're kind of stretching my suspension of disbelief too far. Like, I can believe an alien god from another planet is here and is the savior of the world. I can believe this rich guy's Batman, but the Martha thing, I don't know why that's what got me. That's the thing where I'm like, this is just, it's too coincidental, too perfect. But anyway, it's a good number 4.
Yeah, a couple more things with that movie, and I won't, talk too much about the Martha thing. I know that, and it's, I'll let that one go. But to me, Superman's dying thing is like, look, you may kill me, but save my mom. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna kill me, save my mom, because that's the only reason he was there, like whatsoever. But I digress with that. Batman and Alfred's back and forth. So many years, Alfred, we've done this, and how many of the good guys stayed good? If there is a 1% chance, we have to take it as an absolute probability. Batman has had it, dude. Lex Luthor feeding all that stuff into him, dude. Feeding and feeding and poking the bear, getting Bruce Wayne to hate him, and Alfred saying he is not our enemy. He is not. And it just, dude, it was so good. So good. I loved it.
100%.
In the warehouse scene, the Batman fighting in the warehouse scene, probably the best Batman fight of all time. I don't care in any movie ever.
Oh yeah, when he's coming up from the floor and just
all of it, the whole thing.
Dude, and you talked about the back and forth between Bruce and Alfred, and there's another quote, and it's the last one, and we'll keep moving on because I'm pretty sure as we move up the list, we're going to talk about each movie more and more because they get better and better. But the quote that and it's at the gala. You got Clark Kent and you got Bruce Wayne and you got Lex Luthor and everything, and they're having the debate, kind of passive aggressively, and Ben Affleck says, or Bruce Wayne says, maybe it's the Gotham City in me. We just have a bad history with freaks dressed like clowns. Yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's, dude. As a first outing for Batman, I love that movie. I love the movie as a Batman movie more. Same thing we've said with Freddy versus Jason before. Yeah. As a Freddy movie, it's awesome. As a Jason movie, not quite as much. Batman vs Superman is a great Batman movie. I think there's a reason he's the he's the first build on the poster.
Yeah, and I mean too, it also deals with the fact that if there was a Superman, how would society react to it, man?
And we'll get to that more with
all those newscasts, like they're treating him like a god, and it's like, should our rules apply to him? Like, dude, those would all be topics for debate and people crying and bitching about all that stuff, man. And it's just so good. And the last thing I'll say about Batman v Superman, how about seeing the Trinity on screen together for the first time in cinematic freaking history, dude?
I wasn't ready for it, man. Like, I was just like, okay, we're gonna get back fucking Wonder Woman,
and she comes in like a beast. The music hits, dude. It's the first time we've heard that music. You get that, and she is a monster, dude.
I got goosebumps right now, man.
I've killed things from other worlds before. You know what I mean? She's confident. She's ready to go. If you want, to me, Wonder Woman's, dude,
I think she'd take both Superman and Batman.
Not true, but
I think she would.
Dude, she tried to take Superman in Justice League, but I'm sure we'll get to that a little bit.
She wasn't fully trying. You saw she was trying to subdue him. I don't remember the exact quote. I'm pretty sure there was something along the line.
I'm pretty sure he had 4 of them on him at once, and he still just threw them away to beat up the Flash.
None of them were actually trying to fully combat him. They were trying to subdue him.
They were trying to stop him. And though she got kryptonite, she's not beating him, dude.
She'll get kryptonite.
Bro, where?
From Batman. Batman's always got kryptonite. He got it somewhere.
What about your number 4, brother?
My number 4, surprise, surprise, Zack Snyder's Justice League.
True.
I know what you're thinking, and I know this movie's going to be on your list.
Oh, it will be.
I know it's going to be higher, and that's fine. Like, for me, there was just like, this is a fantastic movie, right? But I didn't get the same, as weird as it is, I didn't get the same feelings about it that I got from other DCEU movies, right? Because this is like, and honestly, I mean, just to be blunt about it, it's a fantastic movie. It really is. But it's kind of marred a little by the original, by 2017's Justice League.
That movie doesn't even exist to me.
And now it doesn't to me either. However, when I was watching this movie, it wasn't like the first time I'm going in to watch a movie to experience it. It was, I want to watch this movie and see how it's different and see how it's better. Like, you kind of got to watch to analyze at that point because you're comparing it. I don't think, unless you watch this one first, on some level, you're watching it and comparing to the original. And that just a little bit of the viewing experience was lost because of that for me. As I said, it's a fantastic movie. So I can't really, I'm not going to drop it any lower, but it's at number 4 for me. I did want to, however, go back and do we talk about Batman versus Superman scores? I don't think we did.
I don't think we did, no.
Okay, so Batman versus Superman. I will preface this by saying there's no cut information on Rotten Tomatoes. It's just Batman versus Superman because there wasn't another official release. It's critic score is 29%.
Yay.
The audience score is 63. So I think out of all the ones we've mentioned so far, this is the lowest ranked one. But still great.
Oh yeah.
Now going to Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I know we're gonna talk about this more, and you're gonna have very in-depth things to say about it. So we'll leave it for then. I'll just say what I already said about the viewing experience being changed because of the original cut. The critic score is 72% for this movie. The audience score is 93%, which, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be the highest rated one of the DCEU. So there you go. That's my number 4, Zack Snyder's Justice League 2021.
Oh yeah.
So what do you got your number 3, man?
Number 3 is Wonder Woman, the first one. Fantastic movie. Another movie that I was very excited to see, especially after Batman v Superman. Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman to me. I wasn't ready for this. Like, I was not ready for it to be as good as it was. I went into it not skeptical, but more like curious.
Reserved.
Just curious. Like, what story are they gonna tell? And they started the movie after Batman v Superman. You have Diana working, she gets the picture from Bruce. She gets the information she wanted from Bruce, and we knew about that. And then it goes into basically a flashback. Her looking at the picture, kind of like zooms in, and it's like, we're back here. Well, we're in Themyscira. And the way they did Themyscira was freaking, dude, it was a comic book come to life to me. You know what I mean? It was just me as a kid again, looking at the comic and being like, holy shit, this is awesome. You get to see her growing up and becoming who she became, Steve Crashland. You get all of that, dude. And just the dynamic between Gal Gadot and Chris Pine, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. This movie to me, dude, it is up there. Like, it is up there in superhero movies of all time. It is up there for me. I will take this, and granted, take this as a hot take it whatever you want. I would rather watch this than 98% of Marvel movies, everything they did during their run of glory through their cinematic universe. This to me was just absolutely brilliant. I love this movie, and that's really all I have to say about it, man. It did everything I wanted it to do and more, and it made me love Wonder Woman even more than I did before.
That's fair, man. That's fair. I'm always going to read the lowest score first.
Yeah.
So the lowest score for this one is audience score, and that's 83%. That's damn good.
Oh yeah.
The critic score is 93%.
Well deserved. They should both be 93.
They're fantastic movies. And I'm not chiming in with my opinion because I happen to know we're going to talk about this movie again.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, man, that's your number 3. It's a damn good number 3.
Yeah.
My number 3 is, I believe, it's definitely more recent. Let me pull it up here so I have it. And this is I got to make this distinction. It's the Suicide Squad, not Suicide Squad, because Suicide Squad is the original, I believe, 2016. Will Smith,
Margot Robbie.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say Margot Robbie because Margot Robbie's also in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So it's 2021's The Suicide Squad. Now, this could be just one big case of lowered expectations.
It might be
because of what happened with the original Suicide Squad. So I was not expecting anything great. But man, like they kind of pulled a Psycho / Scream with us, because you get the opening, because we got a cast announcement, right, of all these characters. You got fucking Pete Davidson, you got oh god, why can I not remember his name from Firefly? Very popular actor. I gotta look it up. Fucking Pete Davidson, Nathan Fillion. You get this huge announcement of all these characters. You're like, cool, and then you see the opening scene, and they're all fucking dead. Like they're all gone. They're all killed in the opening scene, man. And then you're like, oh, okay, so there's more going on to this movie. And then it gets into it, dude, and there's so much happening in this movie. And I had a really good time with it. And it gets surprisingly deep at certain points, you know?
Yeah.
They had a really good kind of, how do I want to phrase this? I think Will Smith is Deadshot from the first one. People like that character. I think they did. Like, obviously not a great movie, but I think they liked his character. And obviously he wasn't coming back for this one because first one didn't do so hot.
Yeah.
So they replaced him with Bloodsport. I think Bloodsport was a perfect replacement for him. Idris Elba was amazing in it, as he always is.
Yeah.
And the fucking, like, the tension that builds up over, like, it starts comedic, obviously, at the beginning between Bloodsport and Peacemaker. But then, like, the tension actually builds, and, like, it gets to be, I mean, obviously, spoiler alert, we see how the movie ends.
Right.
It's like, and that's a real part of it. There's great comedy in it. Like, Peacemaker was so fucking funny. And John Cena, dude, I think John Cena is so underrated as an actor. Like,
he's gotten a lot better from where he started.
Yeah. And dude, if I had to pick, like, if you came out and told me, like, okay, pick the best actor who is, you know, that's like transferred over to acting from professional wrestling, I'd probably pick John Cena.
He's not afraid to make fun of himself.
Yeah, and he's not afraid to go for it.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I don't know if I would have got naked at the Oscars, but you know,
he wasn't fully naked.
It's I don't know if I'd have done that.
I don't know if you saw the behind the scenes photos. He wasn't fully naked.
I didn't. No, I didn't.
He had one of those. It's I mean, it's essentially like a friction based thong. Like there's no strap. There's no straps to it. It literally like wraps under and it, you know, comes up and just holds everything in place. And then it's kind of, you know, friction to the back. So like dude, there's so much like conspiracy going on because of that. I think it's just hilarious, but I that was so clever. Like I don't agree with it, if I'm being honest. Completely honest. I think that would have been perfect for like the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
Because the Golden Globes, everyone knows you drink, you have a good time.
Right.
It's fun. For me, I always took the Oscars a little bit more seriously, you know,
right.
Like obviously you're going to have a comedian as a host in some regard. You're going to have some jokes scattered throughout, but having someone come out seemingly fully naked on stage to introduce a category, I think it's funny at the Golden Globes. I think it's a little trashy at the Oscars, but that's just me.
How about Godzilla -1 coming home with an Oscar, bro?
Bro, did you? Okay, coming home with an Oscar for special effects with a $10 million movie going up against 100. Did you see their shoes?
Yes, I did.
Were those not fucking cool as hell?
Come on, dude. Like, come on, dude. Let's go. A Godzilla movie winning an Oscar. I don't care what it's for. And for it to be that,
dude,
are you freaking serious? There are people in Disney getting fired right now. Like, guaranteed.
Yeah, hire those people. They took $10,000 and made a movie that its special effects beat out hundreds of $1 million of movies. So, like, dude, it was crazy. But anyways, going back to my number 3. Yeah, dude, I just had so much fun with this movie while actually being invested, you know, and like Starro as a fucking villain, bro. That last line he delivered, it was something that kind of stuck with you because you're having you're just like, oh, we just beat this big, huge fucking monster and we're having a good time and it's all fun and games. And then Starro said, I was happy just floating in space and staring at the stars. And you're like, wait, what? And like you feel for him for a second because you're like, I think part of the whole movie is like we brought him here for something. Dude, it was a lot. Anyways, I fucking loved this movie. I was a big fan of the first one. And then, this one came out and I was even more of a fan of this. And I just want to throw this out there too. Last thing I'll say about it. David Dismalchian is a fucking amazing actor. He played Polka Dot Man in this one.
Yep.
He was also in the fucking Dark Knight. This dude is such a prolific actor. He blends in and he's in so much shit.
He is. He does blend in, dude.
And that's kind of what you want when you're his type of actor. Like, I guess character actor could be a description for him, but I think sometimes that has a little bit of a negative connotation attached to it.
The movie's on his list of what have you done. It's just like, what the fuck, dude?
You're like
the Dark Knight, dude. Are you freaking
You're
serious?
in the Dark Knight. I think he was in Prisoners with Jake Gyllenhaal and Hugh Jackman. He's
been in a lot of stuff.
He's been in so much.
Yeah.
And
well, hell, Cillian Murphy was in the Batman,
he
Batman
originally
Begins,
auditioned for Batman.
Yeah, dude, I love Cillian Murphy.
Oh, dude. What did he say? What happened? What did Cillian Murphy say? It was in the Dark Knight. It was like a throwaway line. And because Batman catches the guys. Catches the guys who are like.
He says something like, "That's not my diagnosis," or something.
Yeah, because he says something like, "I don't need therapy," and he's like, "That's not my diagnosis."
Right? Yeah, dude. Like, he's so good, and to me, he's Thomas Shelby. He'll always be Thomas Shelby to me, dude. 100%. Like, did you ever watch that show?
I got several episodes into the first season, but I have not finished it.
Why are we doing this? Because we can. Because we fucking can. Dude, I fucking love Thomas Shelby. When that movie comes out, bro, that's a first night go for me. Like, I love Peaky Blinders. Like, that's my jam, dude. And Cillian Murphy, Thomas Shelby, dude, he's one of my favorite TV characters of all time. So the mere fact that he was in fucking Oppenheimer, I was like, fuck yeah, dude. I gotta see it.
I just watched that for the first time the other day. Bro, that is such a good fucking movie. Like, such a good movie. Oh, there was another part to that too, because when he's doing the deal, when he's doing the drug deal, he said, "I told you my product would take you places. I never said it was places you'd want to go.
I never said they were places you wanted to go." Yeah.
And then the Batman impersonators come in, and you can hear him. He's like, "That's not him." And then like real Batman shows up. He goes, "That's more like it."
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah, dude.
He's good. Anyway, back to my number 3 here. The Suicide Squad 2021 audience score of 82%, critic score of 90%.
Nice.
Yeah, so there you go. The Suicide Squad 2021. What do you got at your number 2, man? We're top 2.
Number 2, and I even know the year to this movie because I love it so much. Number 2 for me is 2013's Man of Steel. I absolutely love this movie, dude. When the trailer came out, let me talk about this. When the trailer came out for this movie, I was still on Facebook. This was 2013. And I believe Iron Man was coming out very soon around that. I believe it was Iron Man 2, if I'm not mistaken. Could have been Iron Man 3. But I still, to this day, remember that trailer dropping and thinking, and I think I even made a Facebook post back in the day. I haven't had Facebook since 2017. That I was just like, sorry, Iron Man, like, the man's back, you know what I mean? And it was, the trailer for that was, him with his knuckle on the ground and the rocks were like floating up and they had that beautiful
he's getting
score,
ready
and he shoots up to the sky and I'm just like, oh my God, dude, this looks freaking amazing. He has that Christopher Reeves flight pattern where he goes around the earth, he goes up towards space, but does that curvature around the earth, almost looking at the camera. That's to me is the most famous visual I have of Superman, of him actually being above Earth and, making that turn. Christopher Reeves used to break the third wall and always look at the camera and smile, and Henry Cavill didn't quite do that, but dude, it was so familiar. It was so beautiful. And the movie alone, I mean, dude, Kevin Costner killed it as Jonathan Kent. You've got what's his name is
which character?
Jarrell, the Gladiator. I'm drawing a
Russell
blank
Crowe.
real quick. Thank you. Russell Crowe. They gave Krypton. You got to see a little more of Krypton on how much different it was from the original 1978 Superman. It was all more centralized inside more than anything else. I think that what's his name's portrayal of Zod was pretty good as well. I did believe it. Yes, thank you. I'm drawing a blank with names today.
You're good, man.
And it was just, dude, like I felt like this movie, even looking back on it now, it's like I don't feel like people really appreciated how good of a movie this was, because I remember people bitching and saying that's not my Superman because he wasn't smiling all the time and he didn't have that dun 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 dun, you know what I mean, type of feeling to him. This was more from the aspect of what would it really be like for someone not fitting anywhere, trying to figure out where they fit in and having these powers and not knowing how to deal with them, keeping them a secret. And, Jonathan really telling him like, hey man, like people cannot find out about this, and believed it so much that he sacrificed his life for people not to see that his son was different and that they wouldn't take him away and put him somewhere. That was Jonathan's biggest fear was, the world's not ready for what you can do. And Clark, you're going to have to decide on what kind of man you're going to be, because that man's going to change the world. And there's just so much love in what he was doing. Clark didn't understand it because he was too young. Dude, it is so good, man. Like I could go on and on. I'm sure this movie will come up on your list as well. So I don't want to say everything. We can have more of a discussion when you get into your side of things, dude. But the amount of things I can talk about in this movie, and just one more piece that really hit me hard was when Zod grabbed Clark's mother and pushed her down, and Clark comes out of freaking nowhere, dragging him across the ground, punching him at the same time. Like, you think you can touch my mother?
Or I think, dude,
it's just like, oh my God, like you have just
kicked a hornet's nest,
all those years of holding back, and now you don't have to. And you see the damage. You just think about all the bullies that were fucking with him. That you could have been drug across the ground and had your life beaten out of you at any moment. But yet he held it together because Jonathan was such a good father to him. And just so much with this movie, man. This is one of those movies I can talk about forever. And the fact that people hated it so much because it wasn't their Superman. I don't think people were ready for this movie, man. To be honest,
they definitely were not.
It's underappreciated in my opinion. I think Zack Snyder's underappreciated in my opinion. As a movie director, period. I thought it was beautiful.
You know who's one of the executive producers on this movie?
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. We just talked about him. Yeah. Before I read the scores, what you said is people weren't ready for this movie. I think I 1000% agree, and I think a big indicator of that is the fact that when we found out Henry Cavill wasn't coming back as Superman, you saw the reaction. Like at that point, he was Superman.
It's like you hate him when he comes out, and then when he leaves, all of a sudden you all love him. All of a sudden,
yeah, they weren't ready. Like what you said, man, is 100% true. Like they weren't ready for him, but then when they saw it, they're like, "This is it." I'll go ahead and read the scores. The critics weren't very nice. 56% out of 100.
They weren't ready for it either.
The audience was a little bit more ready for it. They were a 75 out of 100. That's pretty damn good, man. I mean, it's not great, but it's pretty good. So that's number 2, or that's your number 2. Yeah, that's your number 2. Yes. Yeah, Man of Steel. It's such a good movie, man.
It is
such a good movie. Um,
And
God,
Hans Zimmer again,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. He's dude. We might have to do a stream of composers, like just talking about favorite scores.
Yeah.
So okay, but before that, we're gonna get to my number two. My number two is Wonder Woman, the original,
Hell yeah, dude.
2017. This movie, we talked about it yours. And I'm like, I'm just gonna hold my. We didn't even talk about fucking Danny Houston or David Lewis, like the villains.
Yeah.
Like fucking Ares, like you were when he revealed himself, this whole time I'm thinking she's crazy. Like it's not really gonna be Ares. Like I was thinking the whole point is humans are monsters too. Like
And she's going to be disappointed and have this realization that she doesn't understand life.
exactly. Then I'm
Yeah.
like, wait. I was like, wait, there it fucking is Ares? What the fuck? Bro.
She's a god, dude. She's a god.
And obviously the revelation that the God Killer wasn't the sword.
It was her.
It's her. Dude, this movie and like seeing her run across fucking World War II battlefields
Yeah.
with these guys behind her and
they told her not to, and she gives that
she's
heartfelt speech about saving people. And
yeah.
dude, when
Bro.
she blocks that fucking, what was it, like I don't even know what the hell that was. What
It
it's
maybe like
almost
a
like a grenade or something, like one of those
RPGs.
yes. And she just knocks it away. I'm
Just
like, oh
deflects it.
my god.
Dude, I'm not kidding. This is the second time because it happened when we were talking about it for YouTube Goosebumps. And this is just to go back to Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's at 4. I didn't get that feeling with Zack Snyder's Justice League as much because I had already had this experience with the Justice League. So, but this, man, I saw that every other movie that we're talking about, I saw in theaters.
Yeah.
And man, this movie there was some great comedy to it. There's like the romantic tension between Steve and Diana and the sacrifice that Steve makes because I mean, she could have done that. She could have. But like him basically being like this is what I can do, I think is a great example for her of like how good humanity could be because she saw some awful sides of humanity while she was here. And man, it was so fucking good.
It
was such a good movie. And what you said about watching this over 98% of Marvel movies, I'd say like 95 for me. I'd watch this over like 95% of Marvel. Marvel has some bangers in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's what we should do next week is top 5 Marvel movies.
Okay.
Because let's show each some love, but
easily.
Yeah, but I would say like I would watch this over like 95% of Marvel movies, but dude, absolutely. I knew this one was going to be on my list. When I started my list, I'm like, I know what 1 is, I know what 2 is, and I know another movie that's going on there. I don't know where. No, we'll get to number 1 in a second. I knew Wonder Woman was going to be number 2. Yeah. The other movie ended up being number 4, and that was Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah.
And then I had to go through, and I rewatched a couple. Like, let me just relive this and see. And it like
the DC fan in me didn't have to do any homework for this movie, dude. Like I own every one of these movies, and they're. I've probably watched Zack Snyder's Justice League 10 times in my life. Batman v Superman probably 15. Man of Steel probably 15. Wonder Woman probably 10. You know, it's just like these are always, not only are they great movies, man, but they're feel good movies for me. You know, and that's with DC, dude. I can do that just because I'm such a big fan. You know, if someone were to come to me and say, hey, I'm watching Man of Steel, then I'm watching Batman v Superman, then I'm ending it with Zack Snyder's Justice League. Fucking let's do it, dude. There's fucking 10 hours of my fucking day right there. You know, because it is. It absolutely is. 4 hours for Zack Snyder's Justice League, 3 hours for Batman v Superman, and 2.5 for Man of Steel. Almost 3. Like, yeah, dude. All about it.
Dude, these movies, I'm not gonna say that. They're fantastic movies, but there you go, man. My number two, we like I said, I knew we were gonna talk about it again. It
Yeah,
was your number three, right?
that was my number two. Was
It's your
Man of
number two.
Steel.
No, this is Wonder Woman though.
Yes, that was my number three. Yes.
Okay, I mean, it's my number two. So,
Yep.
once again, 83% audience score, 93% critic score. Amazing.
Absolutely fantastic.
All right, man, you're number one. What?
And I think you know where I'm going with this, but my number one is Zack Snyder's Justice League. You bring the team together, man. And unfortunately, for the way that DC decided to do this, you had to tell origin stories for three of them in this movie, which I was perfectly okay with because Ray Fisher got his due. When you look at, and I'm not going to spend the entire time talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League, comparing it to Justice League, for the simple fact that, like I said, that movie doesn't even exist to me. But you look at the differences between the two. You look at Ray Fisher. You look at Ezra Miller's, spots as a Flash. I mean, the Flash was pointless in the last one. He did nothing. He did absolutely nothing. And you go from having saved everything to nothing. Ray Fisher.
He saved one family.
Yeah, he did. He did. As Superman flew the apartment building next to him, full of people. But it just made it. Anyway, I digress. I don't even want to take up the time talking about Josh Whedon's Justice League. Like it's just so terrible.
One thing, just to give Joss Whedon's Justice League one bit of credit, I absolutely loved that ending bit in Joss Whedon's Justice League where it was the Flash wanting to race Superman to see which one was faster. I loved that little bit because that's happened in the comic book several times.
It has, but I couldn't get past Henry Cavill's face.
Oh, because of the CGI was terrible. Oh, it was awful.
Past it, dude.
Yeah.
Every time he talked, it looked like he had like a stroke.
You saw what they did, right?
He had a mustache and they CGI'd over it. It was horrible.
Yeah, they took wax and like waxed it down and put the dots on there so they could CGI. Dude, it was
terrible. Like,
yeah,
unbelievably. Oh God, it was so distracting. And Superman being my favorite character, to look at that, it made me want to puke within the first 5 minutes of seeing the movie. But the way that this starts off, you take up right after or right during, him dying in Batman v Superman, and his scream from when he got stabbed, awakening the mother boxes and letting Steppenwolf know that that's where they were, and him coming there and saying, no lanterns, no Kryptonian, this world will fall. He looked so good. First of all, the amount of emotions tied to this movie, it starts for me in Themyscira. Simple line, dude. Simple line. When she says, Amazons, show him your fear. And they all scream, we have no fear. I was just like, holy shit.
I thought that was cheesy as hell.
Freaking, I loved it.
I thought it was cheesy as hell.
Loved it. I thought it was freaking amazing. They have that fight. It goes in, and he basically just runs through the Amazons like they're nothing, and uses that later against Wonder Woman to lie to her, like you could have saved them, like your sisters all died, like all of them, and fucking with her head, psychologically when they're fighting, seeing Iris West for the first time and Barry, his little stupid, he's moving so fast, time isn't moving, and he's saving her from that car wreck, and the fact that he grabs the hot dog, everybody's like, what the fuck is that? And then later on, you see like he's got so much time, you know what I mean? Seeing him turn for the first time and tearing out of his shoes and putting his finger into the glass and it just shattering, but going forward, dude, I thought it was amazing. I thought that was beautiful. Ray Fisher as Cyborg, dude, giving that much more depth to that character, his relationship with his father, seeing his, spoiler alerts, I'm sorry, but seeing his father die to help them. His father knew that he wasn't there for him, but tried to make up for it as best that he could. And watching him crush that tape recorder, and then at the end putting it back together, and
That killed
hearing
me,
that
dude.
dialogue, as he, finished off that segment of the movie. It's so freaking good, man. The way they all come together, the way that, Clark realizes right away, once his mind is right, they brought me back for a reason. They need me. He comes back in the black suit, hearing Jor-El and Jonathan Kent both talking to him as he's walking through the ship. And the last thing you hear is Jonathan Kent's approval telling him, "Fly, son, it's time." It's
Bro,
like,
that it gets you in the heart. Like
it ties it all together, dude. Even in, you look back at Batman v Superman, where things aren't going Clark's way, and he walks off and he has that conversation with Jonathan, who's not really there, and he tells him about the time that the farm flooded, and that they sent the water down, and it ended up flooding another farm. It all ties in, and it wraps that up beautifully, man. That story in general, giving Flash the ability to save everyone, the way it looked when their bodies are being reassembled, the blood, the bones, even Superman got blown up. Wonder Woman's attack at the beginning, where she stops those bombers, right? It looks 10 times freaking better than it did. Dude, when she has that little moment when she bursts through the door, because there's like 9 seconds left, and that guy, and they shoot at her with automatic weapons. The way that she moves her bracelets alone, bing, 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 it's so fast, and it looks so freaking good.
It does.
There's just so much about this movie. Batman's full 180. And then, to get into the later parts, that Zack Snyder filmed strictly for this because it was coming out. I loved Batman and Jared Leto's Joker's dialogue.
Oh my god, dude, that
Take this
little
card.
section.
A truce, Bruce. And anytime you want to break that truce, tear this card, and I'll gladly talk to you about why you sent a boy wonder to do a man's job. So good, dude. Oh my god. Like, to me, it redeemed. It was the Joker, dude. It was the Joker. And people told me, well, it's stupid he's wearing badge. Dude, that's some Joker shit right there. Wearing that thing with the badges on it. If you've ever watched Death of the Family, you've ever read that, dude, that is that Joker right there. And people are like,
chaotic Joker.
That's not Heath Ledger. That's not Joaquin Phoenix. That's not. No, it's not
supposed
dude.
to be.
It's not supposed to be. You guys want to trash this guy so bad, but you don't know that that's not the Joker that is in this movie. Granted, the whole damage shit, yeah, okay, whatever, right? It didn't really work for me either. But then again, his part got cut out of so much, we really don't know.
Yeah, well, there was a rumor out there about there being like a Joker cut.
There's an Ayers cut. It's like the Snyder cut. Like David Ayers says, yes, there's a cut. I have it. But yet we'll never see it. The whole restore the Snyderverse, or not restore the Snyderverse, but the Snyder cut movement, dude, is proof that if enough people care about something and they're not afraid to talk about it, that it will happen. That's the first time. Like, dude, that billboard was in New York on Times Square. Hashtag the Snyder cut. Petitions. The fans spoke, man, and they got what they wanted. And the whole time, Zack Snyder's like, yeah, I got a cut of it. Everybody's like, this cut doesn't exist. Jason Momoa comes up like, I've seen it. Tell me it doesn't exist. I've seen it. And you understand why so many people were mad. Like, dude, and I know I kind of went on a tangent about the movie, not so much why I loved it, but there's so much in this movie. And again, let me just throw this in there because I've thrown it in for the last ones, dude. The score for this, freaking amazing. The music playing when the Flash is about to reverse time, one of the dopest freaking songs. It's so good. It's so good, man. Zack Snyder's Justice League is number one for me. And that's my list of 5, dude. I don't see any of them moving. Because, well, for one, DCEU's over.
Yeah, it's
So
officially
it's
stopped.
done. But unfortunately, that is the final ranking, and I will not have anything coming out to possibly replace any of these. So yeah, man, that's it for me. That's 5.
You know, I think the reason we don't get more like the Snyder Cut is, well, Justice League, the original Justice League had an already fucking huge budget. It was like $300 million. Then they paid $70 million additional for Zack Snyder to make another cut of the movie. So dude, I think that's why 70 million. I mean, what was the budget of like the most recent Halloween movies? Like they were that's more than the budget of the most recent Halloween movies, I believe.
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking about a Halloween movie. The highest grossing slasher of all time was Halloween 2018. And that made what, 256?
Yeah.
You come out with a dope superhero movie, you're in the billions, brother.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You are in the free. What did Endgame make? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think it's one of the highest grossing movies of all time.
I mean, there's a difference. 70 million.
Endgame $2.79 billion.
So there's a difference between the best you could ever do in a Halloween movie is 265 million, and the best you can ever do in a superhero movie is what, 3 billion. So I mean, there's a bigger target audience with
270 million to 270 or 2.7 billion.
Yes,
what is that, 100 times? 1,000 times. Yeah, that's 1,000 times bigger. Yeah, a billion is 1,000 millions, right? Yeah, it's 1,000. So Endgame made 1,000 times as much money as the highest grossing slasher of all time.
That's the thing, man, and that's something I'm always telling people with target audience. There's a big world out there, you guys. There's a big world, and there's a lot more people that are going to see a superhero movie than they are going to see a slasher.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah, and that's just factual. And we already said the scores for this one because it was on my list earlier. But once again, critic score of 72%, audience score of 93%. And I think we've gone through the entire list so far, but that is the highest rated DCEU movie.
Good.
So
good. It should be. It's beautiful.
Yeah. My number 1 is Man of Steel. Man, there's so much about this movie.
Yeah.
That, you know what? Let's go the opposite way because it makes it less to talk about. There's so little about this movie that I don't like, and I couldn't tell you what it is right now. Like Clark going through, just seeing his like transition through these jobs to keep hiding himself because something will happen. And the way he deals with that fucking bully at the truck stop, that trucker who
if you weren't going to bring it up, I was.
Bro, the trucker pushes him and the trucker goes backwards.
Yeah.
And then he comes outside and his fucking truck is absolutely demolished. Like it looks like the result of a fucking Final Destination opening scenario,
Yeah. Only instead of logs, they're freaking telephone poles.
Bro, dude. So there's that part. There's when he's like going in to fucking find a ship and he uses his fucking heat vision to make a fucking tunnel into the ship. Dude, this movie and Henry Cavill, there's a point that I knew this was Superman because, growing up, Superman, he was like as Family Guy would call it, he was an out of shape, in shape guy, like he looked buff, but he wasn't really muscular or anything. He was just, as we say where I'm from, built like a brick shithouse. He's just solid. But you saw Henry Cavill come out of the fucking water to that clothesline to steal some clothes.
He's jacked.
After he completely held up an entire fucking oil rig so like 3 or 4 people could escape.
Yeah.
he's got fucking wings. His lats are so big. When I saw that, I'm like, this man is taking this role as serious as it deserves to be taken.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it looked like this guy was like, I get a chance to play Superman. I'm going to make sure I take the most, make the most of this chance. And everything about it was wonderful.
Yeah.
And what you said about people not being ready for ready for Superman, it's not like the original Superman. Like, it's not. He's not, bright. Like, he doesn't have bright yellow and bright red. It's more subdued. It's more darker tone. But like, you
Yeah.
see the stuff that he has to go through in his life.
Yeah.
Like, he's literally the only one of his kind here. He's gonna. I mean, obviously, he has family. He has Martha and oh god, what's his dad's name?
Jonathan.
Martha and Jonathan.
Yep.
And all that, but he feels like an outcast. In the scene in the school when he was younger, like when he's realizing he has like this, he can see fucking through people. He has this, and like dealing with all that growing up. And I think it just played out perfectly. And I think Michael Shannon as Zod was amazing.
I will find him. I love that line,
dude. When he realizes, like when Clark successfully destroys the terraforming machine, and Zod was like, my entire purpose, my entire reason for being was to protect Krypton. You have taken away my purpose. And just Zod at that point, you said this on a stream or on a podcast previously. I don't remember when exactly it was, but you said the only reason that people can quote unquote beat up or something, this is paraphrasing of course, on and get away with it with Superman is because he has the no kill rule. But then you said if it was Zod would kill every one of them.
Yeah.
And this is the Zod that would do it.
Yeah.
He was literally like, I'm going to destroy this entire world and you're going to watch it happen.
Yeah. And it's not that Zod or Superman has a no kill rule. It's that he cares. He loves everyone, dude. It's not that he's like, no, I can't kill anyone. It's more like that's not in his nature.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not his nature to hurt people. And his biggest, downfall when he fought Batman. And Batman's quote was, if Clark wanted to, he could squash me like a bug, but he won't because deep down he's a good person. I am not. And that was never used in Batman v Superman, which I thought it should have been.
It should have been.
But that was a line from the novel, The Dark Knight. And that's what he says. He's like, if Clark wanted to, he could squash me like a bug. But he won't. Deep down, he's a good person. I am not.
Zod would.
Zod, on the other hand, there would be no Batman v Zod. Zod would just fly at the speed of light and just rip his head off and keep going on to his next thing. It wouldn't matter how much kryptonite he had in that gun, because the gun fires. He's moving so fast that bullet's not moving.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, man. And the climax of the battle, of the fight between Superman and Zod, where Zod is literally like, you're gonna have to kill me to stop me. And the struggle in Superman's eyes, and like the pain in his voice.
Yeah.
He's like, don't do this. Like, don't make me do this.
Yeah.
I do not want to kill you. And Zod is just fucking relentless. I think he was one of the best villains in the entire DCEU, because he obviously at that point there was no bargaining with him, right? He was crazy at that point, but he had been driven there. Up until then, as crazy as it is, he was only doing what he was created to do.
Yeah.
And
evil's a matter of perception, right?
Yeah. Everyone's the hero of their own story.
Right.
And at that point, he's like, I don't have a purpose anymore, so I'm gonna make your life miserable. And like I said, dude, the pain in Superman's eyes and his voice when he's trying to stop him and save that family, and they're just, you see that laser vision getting closer and closer, and them screaming for their lives, and he just has to, and the snap, and people criticize that decision so much. I'm like, you see what happened, right? You see like how conflicted Superman was, and even after the fact, that yell of pain, like
Yeah.
even though Zod had threatened his mother, had destroyed a significant amount of Metropolis and other places, and beat the shit out of Superman, even though all that, he still didn't want to kill him.
Yeah.
And man, just everything about this movie I love. 75% audience score on it, I think, is stupid low for
Yeah.
what this movie deserves. It needs to be mid 90s in my opinion, at least. And this was what we kicked off the DCEU with.
Yeah.
And I think it was a hell of a start.
I'll tell you what, man, and to stay on those that same subject, somewhat. They've released the first images of James Gunn's Superman, and they're I'm excited.
Haven't
A
seen
huge
any.
Superman fan. They're showing the S what it looks like. They're showing snow on it because they're shooting in Norway, I believe, right now. All of the Fortress of Solitude scenes. So they're showing the snow on the S. Look, man, I hate that the DCEU ended, dude. But if I'm about to get a movie just called Superman,
Well, Superman Legacy.
no, they changed it. It's just Superman.
Since when?
I don't know, about a week ago.
Oh, okay. Last I saw, it was like James Gunn releases first cast photo of Superman Legacy, and it was a table read or something. But fun facts while we end this up. One of the very first things, it was like within the first 3 things I ever 3D printed, was the codex, or the key to the spaceship that had the S that slid down in there. You know what I'm talking about? From Man of Steel.
What is it?
It was the key to Clark's spaceship.
Oh yes, the little yes,
like the metal thing that went down, but it was the S.
Yes.
One of the very first things I 3D printed. I printed a stand for it, and that was sitting on my desk at work until I didn't use that desk anymore.
Yeah.
And I love this movie. There you go, man. There's my number 1, Man of Steel.
Hell yeah.
And like I predicted, we had 3 movies in common. We had Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah.
DCEU, rest in peace. It's gone. Yeah. We haven't lived through the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but we can officially say we have lived through an entire DCEU.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. For sure. Just real quick, for our viewers and to show you as well. Superman Legacy. James Gunn revealed that his new Superman movie will simply be called Superman. Writing in post-celebration of the first day of filming, when I finished the first draft of the script, I called it Superman Legacy. By the time I locked in the final draft, it was clear the title was Superman. So there you have it. James Gunn's first movie will be Superman.
Man, damn good episode. Damn good episode. Dude. I think we should definitely do top 5 MCU movies. We got a lot more options, so there's a good chance that we'll have less overlap.
More than likely. I mean, I could name my top 5 off right now.
Yeah, we'll do some MCU next week.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
If you're still here watching at the end of this craziness, thank you for sticking around. Make sure to check out the other episodes, and come back next week for episode 7, I believe. Yeah, it'll be 7. All right. Thanks for sticking around, everyone. Peace.
All right. Take it easy.